Siemanko moi drodzy, witam was w trzecim odcinku z gry Vampyr albo Vampyr. Zwał jak zwał. Słuchajcie, jesteśmy w szpitalu, a raczej pod szpitalem. Poznaliśmy tutaj gostka w poprzednim odcinku, który jest prawdopodobnie ordynatorem albo właścicielem, zarządcą szpitala. I poprosił nas o pomoc. Dał nam ofertę pracy. No i co? Pomożemy mu. Prawdopodobnie z nim będziemy dążyć do tego, żeby znaleźć nie dość, że morderców, którzy grasują i zabijają, czy innych wampirów, jak i lek na szpankę, która w tamtych czasach była zgrozą i zabijała. Dobra, pogadajmy. Okej, pogadamy. Oni mi tutaj blokują trochę wejście, czy mi się wydaje? Troszkę tak. Dobra, czy ja mogę tu iść? Tu jest zamknięte.
It's locked.
It's locked. Okej. Niech będzie. Co tu się dzieje? O proszę.
Rotten or pristine, each heart contains the seed of life. Drink at this river, try it all.
Oh, come on, you bastard! I won't buy.
Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse!
Kurczę. Co tu wybrać? Pozwolę ci się wykrwawić, to nie uprzejmę. Kurde. Gdzieś coś mi tam powiedziało, podświadomość, żeby go zabić.
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
All right, sorry. I am in pain here. My guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
Dobra, powstrzymałem się. Jakość krwi danego mieszkańca wskazuje na ile punktów doświadczenia za nią zyskasz. Im wyższa jakość krwi, tym więcej punktów doświadczenia. Hipnotyzuj, aby napić się krwi. Najpierw chcę hipnotyzować. Dobrać w ustronne miejsce twojego. Okej.
Bring this fading light into the shadows. Dance with him the dance of life and death.
Okej, wyścig krew uwolni. Dobra, ole muzyka. Trzeba było to zrobić, bo ja potrzebuję punktu doświadczenia.
Bastard! Didn't have the guts to fight me. Fuck you. I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
Skutki. O nie, szkutki, powiedziałem. Skutki moich działań będą fatalne w tym miejscu.
To taste a life, to embrace its most intimate secrets. Such a burden, such a divine sin.
Dobra, dobra. Żądza krwi mnie tutaj atakuje. Dobra, teraz nie będę gryzł tych, co są w szpitalu. Okej, sporo rzeczy pozbierałem. Później sobie pokraftujemy jakieś ulepszenia. Szpital polowy taki.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to
Little
deal with this
surprised.
unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses are already resigned.
Niewidzialny
An
morderca,
invisible
ciekawe.
enemy. Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett's. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits.
O, to może też być
He
wampir.
just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Okej.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No, I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
O, no dobra, czyli wskazówki będę musiał
Call me if you need
odkryć jakieś, żeby ją wypytać o więcej. Tu jakieś, kurde... Dziwne rzeczy będą się działy, tak? Zakrawiona. Dobra. Ci tutaj leżą.
Not want to make wait, Doctor. I've patients to attend.
Zaraz poczekasz jeszcze chwilę, nie? To ja jestem ten słynny doktor. Jonathan Reid. A tutaj coś jest? Czemu ja tego nie mogę przejść? Dobra, dobra, już biegnę.
Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious
Ten
they
wyraz
may be.
twarzy i te ząbki takie trochę
I
wampirze.
apologize, nurse. I needed some time to myself. This has been the longest and strangest night of my life.
You delivered poor Mr. Hampton from a terrible fate. The means to that end should be of little concern, Doctor.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
No proszę. Już mi gabinecik przygotowali z nazwiskiem, no
Yes,
pięknie.
Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
Mhm.
I would like to ask a few questions first.
Nie to, żeby ona właśnie uciekła w trakcie operacji.
And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in, how does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant
What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon, and
Okej.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows.
you'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator.
Dobra, no to
Thank
wystarczy.
you, Nurse Crane.
Pierwsze piętro, ostatni gabinet po lewej. O Jezus, z wszystkimi to trzeba będzie zagadać.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hook.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
Okej.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful.
Dupa
We lack
tam.
everything, and it's getting worse every day.
Okej, no pandemia, totalna pandemia hiszpanki.
And why not?
Także jesteśmy totalnie w temacie, tylko wampirów u nas brakuje.
And by gang members willing to steal my money.
No szkoda, chętnie bym był takim wampirem. Aczkolwiek
Selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your
to nie
own
do
way,
końca, bo
Doctor.
za dnia bym nie
I
mógł się
offer them
wychodzić na
another way to
zewnątrz.
protect their health.
Ale żyłbym długo.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since too long, I guess.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting
Dobra,
It
dobra.
sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital. That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
No, północ w ogrodzie dobra i zła. Nowe śledztwo. Dobrze. Mamy nowe śledztwo. Wiemy, co będziemy robić. Tu już zagadałem. Osobiste pytania. Tutaj muszę mieć wskazówki, dobijmy
I'd like
targu.
to see your goods.
Wise choice, Doctor.
Pokaż mi
Reed.
swoje
A
towary.
reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Okej, strzelba Miltona. Tylko, że ja hajsu jeszcze nie mam. Czemu niektóre są na zielono, niektóre nie? Okej. Co tu jeszcze przebadać? Mam dużo punktów, więc przydałoby się je troszeczkę postać ulepszyć. Nic więcej nie ma, nie? Okej, sorry, że wam zaglądam przez okno. Przerąbane, nie? Niektórzy mogą leżeć w środku, a niektórzy na zewnątrz. Z tą gadałem? Tak, z tą gadałem. No, to jest ten gościu.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us.
Wygląda trochę jak
Can't
taki
think of
wampir.
any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before at the
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now.
Jak sobie słodzą, ja pierdolę, no.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
Tell me more about...
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and...
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even
Dostępna nowa
further.
wskazówka.
If she was a man, she would...
Okej. Zbyt wysokie kwalifikacje, żeby być pielęgniarką. Okej. A tu co się dowiedzieliśmy? Jest krąg społeczny. Fajnie, bo to się tak powiązuje wszystko, nie? I rozmawiając, odkrywamy coraz to kolejne osoby. A, czyli tu rozumiem, cały personel będzie.
be a
Gitara,
damn fine
dobra.
practitioner.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No, we must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos.
Gościu, tu już jesteś wysuszony, idź
Once more
spać.
unto the breach.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
Okej. Czyli tu już nic więcej nie było. A tu jeszcze osobiste pytania? Nie mogę, okej.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Goodbye, doktor. Doktor. To jest ten, ta? Tu sobie ukradniemy parę buteleczek.
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research.
Okej. To kto to jest?
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm
Pipka.
Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Witam pani
Dr.
Pipko.
Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
Jezu, ile tu zgadania.
How would you describe the situation?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking.
No to wiemy już.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last.
I wish I could believe you. But what if...
You must get a...
Sorry.
Ja to troszkę przeklikam, słuchajcie. Bo nie ma co przeciągać samym gadaniem.
Or long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
You're right. When dealing with such a...
Sorry, Doc.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad...
No widzicie, na temat
Why does
Miltona,
Milton
coś tam już
dislike
wiemy.
doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him.
Dobra, i osobiste jeszcze coś? Nie ma nic. Okej.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Będziemy tak cały czas odkrywać. Teraz to więcej informacji i... Tylko co nam to da, że 100% będę wiedzieć o człowieku. No to kto to jest?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed, yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Gościu, co ty gadasz? Zaraz ci nakopię tutaj, nie?
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine,
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness.
carelessness.
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical
Modern medical methods were created through audacity.
No ty kurde.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with me.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course.
There is no need for such animosity between us.
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital in...
No ty kurde.
If you have a...
Doctors...
I know there isn't...
That it...
Okej.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a
Tego to
practitioner.
bym
I
zaraz
don't
zabił,
question your
nie?
skills,
Był
Dr.
problem
Reed,
z
but your
głowy.
motive? Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of facing reality.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd.
No dobra. Czy widzę, że z gościem będzie
Thank you for your
kosa.
time. We'll talk later.
No ale nie widzę problemu, żeby go tutaj zaraz ożegnać już na stałe. O kurde, ty, jakie to jest ogromne, to się można zgubić. To co, kto to jest?
Good
O Jezu, ile tu jest gadania!
Can I help you?
God damn.
My son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer
Beatrice.
Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
No... Dobrze pani słyszała.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Coś już taka powiada?
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
O, proszę, proszę, że co?
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here...
Nauczycielka, która tyle zarabia? Coś tu kurde śmierdzi.
Yes. Thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover
No,
any needed medical expenses.
bogaty mężulek. To wszystko jasne.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a
Czyli rozumiem, że tu jest jakaś prowokacja
The ambulance
hipnotyczna.
driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
Proszę.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I share your concern.
I don't expect compensation.
Okej. Tu jeszcze wskazówek nie mamy, dobra.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Czyli wiemy, że tamto jest zachłanna i...
Don't waste your time with me.
Ale co, no dostali prywatny pokój? Dostali. Niech się cieszy. Kurde, jeszcze z
Good
pacjentami
evening,
muszę gadać?
I'm Dr. Reed. May I...
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you...
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his
I
arm.
was more curious about what you were doing before.
I'm a carpenter. And a good one, too. But that means I need
Are you...
Well, it's clear that
I won't lie to you about it.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed?
In other circumstances, you would be right. Tell me about the doctors who are up...
Strickland and Ackroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different.
No,
from
to jest prawda.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
No okej. Osobiste pytania. Tu nie mam nic, jedziemy dalej.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Dobra, ukradniemy tu buteleczki. Wszystkimi gadałem? Kurde, ogromny jest ten szpital. Gdzie już tutaj... zgubić. Jak wygląda mapa? Oho. W taki sposób wygląda mapa, no dobra. Własny znacznik? Weź mi to usuń. Więc nie zaznaczałem, ale co jest? Dobra. Gdzie my teraz jesteśmy? A, wychodzimy. Okej. Coś na zewnątrz jest. Jakiś list. No widzicie, Nicole. Czyli okej. Gościu jest pazerny. I tutaj kombinuje, jak tu zarobić na ludziach. Wszystko jasne. Zróbmy tak. No, niezłą ma tą jakość krwi. Czuję, że go trzeba będzie dziabnąć. Legendarne wampiry, skala. Pochodzenie wampiru, osobowości wampirów, gatunki wampirów. Kurde, ile tu rzeczy jest do odkrycia. No okej. Dobra. Ipa Hawkins. Czyli oni współpracują, żeby zarobić na wszystkich. Okej. To zrobiłem. Cieszę się. Coś tu gada. O, mogę tu skrzynię otworzyć. Halo.
It's locked, all right.
Jakiś gościu jest. Siema. Ty przyłapałem, co? Gagatku. Chodź tu. Kim on tam gadał?
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir.
A colleague?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of...
What do you mean? You used to be a doctor?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise.
Are you afraid or
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels.
How did you get...
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by...
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic...
Sir, as a medic during the war, I
No okej. Czyli gościu prowadzi lombard, bo z trupów zabiera rzeczy, tak?
Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to...
Jezus, ile tu jest gadania. Pół godziny gadania, nie? Tytuł będzie
Do you work here alone?
Symulator rozmów.
Easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing.
Why close the hospital?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic.
Dobra.
A pawnbroker? I expect to get all types.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For us...
Who comes here to trade with you?
I'm very cautious, sir.
What kind of...
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Do you really believe goodwill?
As I said, sir, everything
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is
So you're
Dobrą nowiną jest to, że wszyscy umieramy, no tak.
I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I...
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But
No okej. Co on tu nam może sprzedać? Kodeina, opium, enigmatyczna receptura. Może bym to kupił? Może być to interesujące. Sprzedaj, co mogę sprzedać? Toporek. Co tu mógłbym sprzedać? Bo szkoda na razie sprzedawać rzeczy, bo muszę zbadać zegarek. Dobra. Pogadane, tu już wejść raczej nie mogę. To lecimy do naszego gabinetu. Mam nadzieję, że z wszystkimi pogadałem. Z tą pogadałem? A to stopa zerna. A nie, co? Szpital jeszcze w prawo jest. No nie wierzę, no symulator gadania normalnie.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your...
Oh, it's bliss.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a...
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills.
Who is...
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry.
Where were you stationed, sir?
I really don't want to talk.
No offense.
You were an officer, weren't you?
Goodbye.
No dobra. Jest kolejna osoba. O jest już kolejna. O, to ten.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it?
Tego uratowaliśmy. Już go wampir prawie zabijał.
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little deliberate.
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to...
No właśnie, bo on wie, że ja chyba jestem.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
Oh.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends.
Okay.
Do you know Tom Watts? The bartender from the Turtle? I
Szynkarze.
met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have let...
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then?
Kurde, już 35 minut materiału, a ja tylko gadam praktycznie.
Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
Masakracja, ile tu jest gadania.
What is the general situation in the East End docks? Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion.
I tego Kleja przed chwilą widzieliśmy, trupo.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad...
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our...
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Czyli musi być to może święcony.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank...
You're in good hands here.
Thank you, sir.
Have you made friends?
Not really. But I recognize Miss Harriet Jones.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke?
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor.
Dobra, pogadane.
Mr. Hampton.
Uret.
We'll talk again later.
Oby ta gra nie wyglądała cały czas tak samo, bo idzie zwariować. Jak to będzie symulator gadania, to będzie lipa. Co to jeszcze? Kolejna odnoga?
It's locked, all right.
Okej. Pippa Hawkins, nieznany? Kurde, z tą też mogę pogadać? No nie. Czy jest? Nie ma. Dobra, zagadajmy do niej.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal.
O!
But dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon.
What are you begging for, mortal? My Clement.
You keep calling me mortal. Why?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard.
Obłąkana na myśli, że jest wampirem.
They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me.
The staff here...
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men...
I see.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere...
Who are you really?
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal?
I'm curious to know who you were before.
It was such a long time ago, I don't remember.
Okej.
I'll leave you, mistress of the dark.
No dobra, ciekawe. Mamy tu wampirzycę albo kogoś z urojami, że myśli, że jest wampirzycą. Handlarz. Mogę... Zły gabinet. Aha, dobra, to jeszcze nie zrobiłem, ale czekajcie, bo mam nowe śledztwo jakieś. Gdzie to jest? Kim jeszcze nie gadałem? Kto to jest? O, wyssana krew. No tak. On współpracował z tam kilkoma osobami, ale już go nie ma. O kurde, jeszcze raz 2, 3, 4 osoby do poznania. Tym... Synalek. Chyba nie gadałem z tym synalkiem. Czekaj, gdzie on był? Tam był, na samym końcu. Dobra, to już będzie... Gdzie poszedłem? Tutaj? Tutaj. Słuchajcie, jako że odcinek już jest bardzo długi, wiem, że to jest strasznie dużo gadania. I tak pogadamy z wszystkimi, żeby mieć to ze sobą.
Can I help at all?
No.
Really? Why are you here?
I don't want to talk.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you...
Yes.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer.
How painful is your...
So painful I'd rather not talk at all.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate.
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your...
Yes, maybe. But I don't...
How painful.
So painful, I'd rather not talk.
I'll let you...
No kurde, tam było...
Good evening, Miss... Why did your mother have you hospitalized here?
My mother just wants the best for me.
Is your mother bothering you?
That's tempting, Doctor.
Pembroke...
It's not me you have...
Matka coś strasznie nim dyryguje, okej.
Tell me.
I don't want to talk.
Dobra, nie chcę gadać. To z przyjemnością nie będę z nim rozmawiał. Na razie, gościu. Idziemy do gabinetu.
We may lack the resources, but we have some of the most brilliant minds in London and Pembroke.
Nieznany? A to kto to jest?
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working...
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us.
Thank you.
I am Thoreau Strickland. Doctor...
W końcu ktoś miły.
Please, could you tell me something about...
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning...
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work.
Kurde.
It's always a pleasure to share science.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible.
I based my technique on my mentor's research.
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental.
And as long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail. What can you tell me?
Well, it has always been an honor to work.
You seem quite optimistic.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test.
Questions remain about...
True.
Do you need...
Well, yes, maybe.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went...
I see. Well, give me the address, for I'm...
Dobra, mamy jakiś przybytek do odwiedzenia.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's avert?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded.
With the influenza and all that's going...
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one...
So you believe it's just a question...
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is...
No i masz rację, gościu. Z tobą mogę zbić piątala.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new
powiedz mi.
techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him? Or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed.
Czy jedno nie wiąże się z drugim? Wiadomo, że jak go wyleczy, to udowodni.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Okay.
This personal involvement could also appear to be...
I agree. But that does not excuse Doc...
Do you think keeping his distance...
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with...
Dobra.
Goodbye, Doc.
Czyli tu już zagadałem. Okej, ten. Udaj się do apteki, taką mamy misję. Tu co, dowiecie, ktoś śledzi Telmę. Okej, i udaj się do ogrodu na... Ale ja byłem przecież w tym ogrodzie. Dobrze, moi drodzy, kończymy tutaj ten odcinek. Prawdopodobnie zagadałem z wszystkimi. Halo, czemu jest taki mniejszy plan? A, tutaj to jest. Zmęczenie. Jakoś krwi jest dużo gorsza. Coś tu się dzieje z nim. Zagadałem prawie do wszystkich. Także dziękuję wam za uwagę. Wiem, że ten odcinek był strasznie taki monotonny, ale na pewno jak już z wszystkimi pogadamy, to później będzie się o wiele więcej działo i będą może fajne jakieś misyjki i będziemy poznawać, jak to jest być wampirem. Także na razie trzymajcie się i pa pa.